Welcome to part 3 of our introduction to family health. I'd like to take you on further from family health to human development. Why it is important that we know family health? Because it's part of the whole picture of to be a human that is developed to your full potential. Florence Nightingale, who is the nurse during the World War, she said that the secret of the nation's health lies in the homes of the people. So what is family health development? Being healthy is good. Yeah, you need to be healthy. But after that, you need to develop your full potential. But you must be healthy first. One cannot develop the full potential if you are not healthy. Yeah, you're already incapacitated. But once you are healthy, you have to develop further. It is important for us to know about development. That is why our government has a special ministry which is called Ministry of Women and Family Development. And under the Ministry of Women and Family Development, they have their vision, mission, and they do provide family health services. It's also to complement the family health in general. So, for the Women and Family Health Development Ministry, they are focusing more on wellness. The Ministry of Health is also focusing on the wellness concept. There's no such thing that you do so I don't do, but we do it together. Yeah, we are also now becoming more focusing on wellness concept and promote wellness throughout the life. And that is why we do a lot of screening, adult health screening in the workplace, even in the Ministry of Health. Even our government is giving incentive that those above 40 should go for executive screening every year. So in general, the goal of health services is to provide a continuous and seamless care and customized care, and better quality care and closer to home. So we provide services both in the rural and the urban areas. Health is determined by many factors, including social factors. So we have to look at other sectors when we talk about health. For example, poverty affect health, low social status affect health, discrimination, also lack of education, and even lack of health care. All these social factors affect health. Yeah, as you can see from the cycle of from pregnancy to the infant child to the young child, and when they become teenage mothers, the cycle of poverty, poor health can affect. It is a vicious cycle. Now, I would like to bring you back again to the family. As you can see, a family that eats together and pray together, they will stay together. Yeah, and it's the first. I cannot stress more than it's the first line of defense. That it is important for the well-being of the family members. It is the first health system, and the role of the family in health promotion and prevention, early diagnosis, and care of the sick. So in other words, the family is also like a health services, also providing health services, not just to provide a place where you can sleep and eat, and a place for you to have form of security, but it is also a place like providing health services where healthy habits are being promoted, diseases are prevented, and during that eating time is also a time for health education, and the parents can influence the child during their interaction with the family members. As we know, health is not just about the individual, it's about relationship. How healthy you are, not only about what you practice, it's also about relationship. This is where social health come in. If you have good relationship with God, with yourself, with other human beings and the environment and others, you are considered a healthy person. So try not to destroy the environment, Try not to destroy relationships, and also don't destroy your relationship with God. Remember, this slide is a slide that every one of you must know. Is called the socio-ecological approach theory behind these factors that influence health. So you look at yourself as an individual. You are influenced by the family around you. The family is shaped by the community around you, and the community as a whole is influenced by the environment, which is the social, economic environment, cultural environment, physical environment, as well as the biological environment. So you see, your health depends on the environment around you also. And also, don't forget your relationship with God. We're talking here now about human development. So once we have addressed and we understand the factors that influence family health, we must also understand what affects you throughout your life cycle, understand the fetal origin of adult disease, understand what is around you, the population, the dynamics of the population. This population are not static, and understand what is the consequences of poor nutrition at each stage of your life cycle. Understand how growth affects productivity, how poor nutrition affects productivity, and understand why women's health affects child's health, and understand the family as a whole, your function, the health, the phases, and your family needs. Now, we come back to what factors influencing family health. It's depend on many factors. It's almost like what factors affecting women's status, but you add some more factors, yeah, like the environment factors and occupation and all that. Okay, just to show you what happened if a pregnant mother is affected by all the factors like poor nutrition, smoking, she has frequent infection, you know, and she will produce more babies that is also having health problems, undernutrition, and then child that is brought up also have poor nutrition, poor growth, and become an underweight and stunted female. So this cycle will go on and on. So at each stage, we have to address the issues, recognize the issues, so that we stop the cycle from going on and on. And we know that infant death occurs in mothers who are younger age. Those mothers who produce babies, if they are aged 20 years and below, you tend to have more infant death. Yeah? So this is infant mortality in relation to mother's age. It was from a survey in Argentina. Fetal origins of adult diseases. This hypothesis is called Barker's hypothesis. Barker had just passed away last year. He states that the origin of adult disease is actually from in the womb, in utero. So if you have an underweight baby, fetus with having poor nutrition, they are likely to develop chronic diseases in old age and the adulthood. This is one example in British Medical Journal in 1991. You can see that they look at all the birth weights and they look at glucose intolerance, and that is a pre-diabetic stage, prevalence of non-insulin dependent diabetes, and impact glucose intolerance in men at 64 years old. So get all those people with already at this age, have a look at all their birth weight, and they found that those whose birth weight are less than 5.5 pounds tend to have higher prevalence of diabetes. In terms of demographic, as we know, the more developed the countries, they tend to have more chronic diseases. Then consequences of improved nutrition. So you see, if we go through the life cycle, and each life cycle, if we detect problem, even up to old age, we can still correct the problem of malnutrition. You look at the cycle, for example, breastfeeding, they have better improved nutrition if they do exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months. But if we miss that stage, we can still continue breastfeeding, and still provide better nutrition and can still be improved. This like what they're trying to say. If we can't do that during early age, we try to do in school. So at every stage of the life cycle, we can continue to improve our nutrition. It's never too late. So this is just to show that better improved nutrition, like this adult man who is over 170 cm, he can cut more sugarcane than a man who is underweight of lesser height. I stress again the importance of women's health, how it affects child health, because nutritionally poor women will also produce smaller babies naturally. But hopefully this cycle is broken if we have better maternal and child health services. Again, we stress the importance of the family. The family is still the most important, although the government provides good maternal child health services, but the family is still the main player. It has a very important function to produce healthy family members. Although we have clinics throughout the life cycle, from maternal child health clinic until the old age, but if the family is not functioning well, there will be more problems. So if the family is functioning well, the good interaction with the family members, with the community, having good relationship, so interact with the health services as well. That means if you are sick, family members, bring to the health services, bring to the clinic or hospital, a good health seeking behavior that will help to prevent disease or detect early diseases. Detection of diseases early will only be possible if the family members take care of each other and aware of each other's problems. So I cannot not stress again that family is the basic social unit of society. It is a bridge between individual and the society. The primary determinant of survival of children is the first agent of socialization for future generations. It is also an institution like the hospital to support for the aged, for the sick, and also the caregiver. So remember, the functions of the family is also serve as a biological function for protection and care, economic function, social function, educational, where you learn a lot of things, what your parents does, and social function, where you actually pass on the cultural and religious behavior to your future generation. It also serves as a psychological function. Families that function, who are happy families, the children as parents, they are also mentally healthy. For Muslims, I insert this slide on the goals in life. If you see, the family actually provide these goals in life, foundational goal in life, First is the protection of religion, yes, function of family, protection of life, protection of progeny, keturunan, protection of intellect, akal, and protection of property. So if you feel safe, that is your family, your home. And family shares, again, this is although repetition, before we wrapped up this, I like to reiterate the importance of what the family shares: genes, lifestyles, diet, exercise patterns, your physical environment, your social relationship, your value system, your beliefs, and also economic and social, political environment. And each phase of the life cycle of the family, from formation, from marriage, and then extension, you have children, complete the family, and sometimes contraction is when the children got married and they leave the family, become contraction. Finally, you become left with husband and wife. Completed contraction and dissolution. So either one of the whoever die earlier, or maybe a broken down family. So these are phases of life cycle that we faced, life cycle of family. So the passage of each phase of the family life produce major events and disturbances. Some families get sick, some family die earlier from diseases or sudden. All this can create results in stress and conflict or if there is conflict between husband and wife, it can cause a deterioration in family function and all these affect the children. And thus, in summary, I would wrap up by saying that a good family health is more than just the sum of the health of the individual members. Family provides the nurturing, caring, and support to its members during happy times and during ill health. And family should have resilience during adverse conditions, and they should have a strong value system and a sense of connectedness. So a good family health, you need to be connected to your family, connected to your school, your community, as well as your workplace. Of course, connect to God. Levels of family functioning, it will depend on, we don't have the measure yet, what is the level of functioning. In Australia, they are trying to develop indicators of family functioning. So what is within the norm, each family depend on the culture. A lot of our family function can be affected by the stress of development and social change. For Malaysia, rural, urban migration, changes of family occurs, and there's a lot of stress that's going on within the family. Many families are vulnerable, but in order to be resilient, they need to have strong value system and strong religious beliefs and practices. Otherwise, if the family breaks down, and many families break down, the whole society will break down. Again, families has a major responsibility of caring for children and its members. Success will depend on the partnership between husband and wife, the family support, as well as the community support, as well as the support from the health services. We want the family to be actively participating in the care for each other, not just if you are sick, okay, leave it to the doctors, send the family to the hospital, and that's it. Family must play an important role of caring also and support, not only physical support, emotional, psychological, economic support as well. In order to do this, they need knowledge. Families need knowledge on what to do, need the skills. How to, even to nurse a sick child, we need to learn. Some of the things like taking temperature, like a nurse also, So taking your own temperature at home, So otherwise you don't know that a child is already having fever and suddenly the child was fitted. You need to know a bit of nursing skills. You need to know a bit of how to be a mini doctor to take care of your children. So you need the knowledge, skills and motivation. And of course support. In our MBBS program, how we teach our doctors, we teach them public health. That is why we're telling them that family health is important. Of course, most of our doctors, our medical students, they want to learn what this disease, how to treat, how to give these drugs, how to give this medication, that's all. But we want to train our doctors to be holistic, so we want them to serve the community as a whole, not just thinking about the hidden curriculum. Good healthcare, you need include home visits. Of course, nowadays the doctors don't go home visit, or the nurses do home visit. Finally, this is just a piece of something you got to think about. We teach our students, we teach our patients, students, we don't just give them the knowledge, we want them to know how to use the knowledge. So, in conclusion, today's healthy child is tomorrow's healthy parent and grandparent. So, fostering the health of the mother and father also produce healthy children. And healthy families are key to stimulating economic growth, and poor unhealthy family unlikely to generate increase in productivity. That is important for our economic growth. We have another slide here. This slide is about indicators of family functioning, but I would say we don't know how to measure it yet. But some may be able to already available ways to measure it. But in general, what we have, how many people having family violence, some form of measurement of mental health, life events, employment status. This we have hours of formal childcare, total family income. Yes, we do have crime rate. These are some indicators that we can measure. The rest is for you to just have a look at the slides. Thank you for your attention. So if you have any questions, you can come back to your lecturers.